I didn't enjoy Mint Delivery as much as I did Mintworks. I'm going to get that right out there just to start with. Mint Delivery is the second game that Justin Blaskey has released in a Mint tin, and my expectations were sky high after Mintworks. A game that I think is a perfect introduction to modern board games, but also stands on its own merit as a very engaging two-player game. You can see why I think that in my Mintworks review, which I'll link in the description. So why didn't Mint Delivery live up to the expectations that I had? Well, if you hang around, I'll let you know. First of all, I want to mention that saying it was worse than Mintworks doesn't tell you much of a story. I thought Mintworks was fantastic, and perhaps some of the flaws I'm going to mention are more general issues with pick up and deliver rather than being exclusive to Mint Delivery. Worker placement is a mechanic that I'm very much into, more so than pick up and deliver, so were the two games equal, I would still probably prefer Mintworks. But I want to start out kind of talking about modern Euro games again, and as I mentioned in Mintworks, for me the key features of a modern Euro game are no player elimination, indirect rather than direct player interaction, and more meaningful decisions with reduced luck. And points 2 and 3 are where Mint Delivery fails for me. The fact is, you basically make a decision about which order you're going to try and do, and then you just go and fulfill it. Right, the intermediate time between your orders does not have enough decisions for me. You just kind of start moving towards where you're going, pausing maybe to fill up and convert the mints on the route. And you can't make a clever decision about which route to take. All the routes are the same length, right? There's nothing clever, nothing engaging there. I can't stop someone else getting mints. I can't stop someone else completing their order. There's no limit of resources on the board, right? Everyone can just go and get their mints if they want them. I can't race you over someone and grab something. The only really bit of interaction that can come between people is if we're both taking stuff to the same city and you get there first and you get the contract that I wanted. But I'm still going to go to that city and I'm just going to pick a different contract. After the richer kind of decision space of Mintworks, this was a little bit disappointing. The first of the so-called advanced variants, which I would urge you to treat as the default, has a few more decisions, right? The order in which you're going to unlock these special abilities. And that definitely improved it for me a bit, but it did feel kind of fairly straightforward. I think I played most of the game on autopilot, right? If I include the second variant as well, you add, a couple of seconds more thought to when you're picking your route, but generally it still felt like the decisions made themselves for me. So I did mention interaction a little bit, and I kind of want to take a break here and talk about Splendor for a minute, because Splendor has been criticised by some people as being a Euro game in which you kind of sit there and play by yourself. But the big difference for me is that in Splendor I am invested in watching other players' turns, because what they do can affect me. Right? You might take a card I want, you might reduce the number of rubies so I can't take 2, you might take the last sapphire. In Mint Delivery, I really could not care less about what you've done, and except for that one caveat where you've gone and taken a contract that I'm interested in. I also found the rule sheet a little bit lacking. One of the special powers in Advanced Variant 1 says something like, your limit of contracts is increased to 4. I don't think anywhere on that sheet, and I looked through it a few times to check this, does it say that I have a limit of things I can have, except for at the start when I'm picking, where I have a limit of up to 6 points worth in my contracts. Obviously there's only so much you can fit on a single sheet, but I did find that a little bit of an issue. I haven't tried the solitaire version. I don't generally play my board games solo, and maybe that's fantastic, and maybe I'm being unfair not by trying that out, but it's not something I'm interested in doing. So maybe I've been a little bit unfair here. Maybe you're thinking that sounds really harsh, but the only reason I'm feeling a little bit let down is by kind of how high my expectations were raised by Mintworks. If Mintworks hadn't existed, and I just played this game with the 2 advanced variants, I'd be like, wow, that's really neat what you can manage to fit in a little mint tin. That's great. But after Mintworks, this is kind of a bit of a letdown. I was expecting something like Istanbul in a tiny mint tin, and I was just left feeling a little bit underwhelmed. I think I'd be interested to try playing Mint Delivery with the powers available to just one person. That to me feels like there might be a bit more kind of interaction, a bit of urgency, reasons to go for some of the other contracts. But as it is, I just feel like the game is a little bit too long for the amount of decisions you get to make. And I don't feel it serves as well as Mintwork does, as an introduction to modern Euro games, so I'm not quite sure where it fits in my collection. Whatever you do, I suggest you play with both of the variants. Without them, I think it's a little bit too dry, too simple for me.